if my lipstick is uneven, I'm gonna need you to just not tell me, because I just spent so much time trying to put this stuff on, and every time I would draw the line, it would just get bigger and bigger until I turned into Miranda Sings. So if it's uneven, you just need to tell me that it's even, okay? Hello guys, and welcome to the video where I tell you the story of how I finally got to meet Dan Howell in person, live and in person. We hugged, it was lovely, and I hope that you are excited to hear about it. Okay, so I went to Dan's We Are All Doomed tour on October 12th, and honestly, I kind of wish I had made this video like the day after that show, because I was still on like that post-show like high that you get, you know? And but it's just, I have so much going on right now that I just have so little time to film, so unfortunately I didn't have the time like the day after, but I am doing it now, so hopefully I can still convey the vibe to you the way that I would like to. But yeah, I went on October 12th, it was a Wednesday, and I did get VIP gold tickets, so I got like all the pre-show stuff, like that whole experience as well. The process of getting tickets was, I thought it was going to be, I really didn't know how it was going to be, because I didn't know what the interest level was going to be, so I didn't know how easy or how hard it was going to be, but I was able to do the pre-sale. I remember that. It was on May 9th, and I remember going onto the site, and at first I had some trouble with it. Even though like I had a pre-sale code, it wasn't working, but I just had to keep refreshing and retrying until it let me in. I think the issue was just so many people were trying to do it, maybe. But I ended up getting 2 VIP gold tickets, so I got one for me, one for my friend, and that, wow, that like felt so good, like knowing that I was gonna be able to meet him, because he's been like my favorite human for years and years now. And yeah, that, like, I rode on the purchasing tickets high for quite a while. I kept like joking when something was going wrong. I would be like, I just have to make it to October 12th, which sounds really bad, but like that was what was keeping me going. Was I was like, I just have to make it until I meet Dan Howell, like, you know. So there was that. So the other things that I'm gonna bring up in this video, just so you kind of know the outline, I'm gonna talk about like how the day went for me, how I liked the show, and then towards the end, just because I think that stuff is what people like kind of want to hear about, and then towards the end, gonna give a little background on like how I got into Dan and Phil, because I love them both, that kind of stuff, and then I'm gonna show you my VIP gift bag and my mementos from the show, because I think that would be fun. So if you're going to the show and you're getting a VIP gift bag, I'll tell you like before I show it, just so that it's not like spoiling a surprise for you. But yeah, so first I'm going to show you what I wore. So I wore this is actually a dance leotard, and I wore that so that, let me just get on my chair here, so I could wear this little like pencil skirt from Hollister. Pretty little like checks. Sorry if you can hear my phone ringing in the background. But yeah, it's like pretty short. Jeez Louise. What if I just spun off like a tornado and flung across the room? That would be terrible. And then I wore my white like regular Vans with it. It was pretty cute. I love it. I'll put in some better pictures because I took a couple pictures, but ooh, hold on, I need to change my camera battery. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how that day went for me. So again, it was a Wednesday. I teach in the evenings from like 3:30, teach until 8, and then I have gymnastics practice after. So I took that day off, took the whole day off so that I wouldn't have to be like worried. Originally, the friend that I was going with was going to drive us both there, but she had a last minute confliction, and so thankfully my other friend stepped in and was like, I'll just drive you to Boston, which, like, wow, thank you again, because I'm like so afraid of like driving into cities, but also I was gonna drive home with my other friend anyway, so I couldn't drive myself because we were going home together. My friend and I drove into the city, and I am not like terribly far from Boston, but I am out of state, so it wasn't the easiest drive ever for us. It was a little scary once we got into the city because driving in a big city is just terrifying. People, like, I understand that, like, when you're driving in a big city, you have to have an air of confidence because there's gonna be stuff coming out from everywhere, but the confidence that people have to just run across a road or zoom through a red light when there's millions of pedestrians, like, that's going a little too far. So it's a little scary, and my friend's car was, like, not doing well, so that was a little scary. Like, it would just stop in the middle of the road, and she was pressing the gas, and it would, like, start crawling, and we were like, oh my god, what is happening? And yeah, so that was a little frightening, but she was able to get me to the theater. I arrived around a little after 2:00 p.m. and I know that probably sounds wicked early because the show was at 7:30. However, all of the VIP stuff happened a few hours before the show, so you needed to get there a bit early. Hadn't picked up my tickets yet, so I wanted to give myself plenty of time to find the box office and get the tickets. Also, just a disclaimer, sorry if my voice sounds weird. My nose has been, like, stuffed up so badly because of the colder weather, so I probably sound strange, but it's just because of the weather. So two things that I was kind of nervous about. One, I wasn't sure where to pick up the tickets because there are two theaters across from each other. The email said to pick it up in one box office, but the website said to pick it up in a different box office. So I was like, it's okay, not a big deal. You literally just check both box offices and they will tell you. So, but obviously, like, I'm an overthinker. I get anxious about everything. So I was like, what if I don't get them? Like, I don't know why that was such a big deal, because obviously I was gonna get them, but, like, I don't know. That's just how I was feeling. But it's such a big day, such a big moment that I was like, if anything ruins this, I will be so upset. So, and the other thing was that since my friend had a scheduling change, she wasn't going to be there for the VIP stuff anymore. She was only going to be there for the actual show. And this friend of mine, I asked her to come because she's a very close friend of mine. We do a lot of stuff together, but she didn't know who Dan was. She's never watched their videos. So it was okay with her that she was missing, like, the meet and greet and stuff like that. But I was like, if I'm already inside at my seat, how am I going to get her ticket to her? I guess I was like, what if someone tries to take my seat? Because I managed to score, like, very, very front seats. Like, I feel like I was the first person to get tickets on that website because I scored what I personally felt like were the best seats. So, I don't know, I was worried about someone trying to steal them, but nobody would do that. Like, I mean, in that culture, the culture that we had in that place, like, people were very good about being respectful of people's space, so that was good. So obviously, me being an overthinker and a worrier, that is what I was thinking about, was how am I gonna get the tickets to her? But it was okay. Spoiler, it worked out. It's fine. Nobody panic. It's fine. But so I got there, waited outside the theater for a little bit, and then I saw some fellow emos go into the theater, and I was like, they're definitely here for Dan. I gotta follow them. So I went in. Sure enough, they were picking up tickets, so I just went and did what they did, got their tickets, definitely left my water bottle in the box office for like 4 hours and had to go find it after. So I did that. That was fun. That was another adventure I had. And then we waited outside the theater for a bit of time. Meet and greet check-in started around 3:45, so I really wasn't waiting that long, and there were other people there, like 2 or 3 other little groups of people. I was one of the only people who was, like, alone. So we were all just kind of waiting outside. We made a nice line. They came down the row and checked us off, gave us a little blue wristband to show that we were VIP Gold. Then they let us in, and I believe the first thing that they did was have us line up to get a first look at the merch, and we could purchase some before anybody else came in and did so. So we did that. We got merch. I got a really cute t-shirt, which I will show you after because I put it in my bag. And then after you finished at the VIP table, like the merch table, they had you start lining up to meet Dan and take a picture with him. And So we were all pressed against the wall. I think I was 4th in line to meet him. And it was just, I remember like the feeling, I was like, there's literally no way this can be real. Like, it just like, I always had felt like I was gonna be able to meet him someday, but it still felt so like unreachable and like untouchable. But the fact that it was actually happening, like, I don't know, it's an indescribable feeling. Like, I could not believe that it was happening. Like, it felt like a dream. So we were waiting there against the wall, and the photo thing, like, we were behind it, so you had to go in front of it to see him, so I could hear his voice, and I could, like, you know, hear him talking to people, and I was like, oh my god, he's there. And oh, it was amazing. We all wore masks for the meet and greet, of course, just because that's what he would have wanted. He would have wanted, oh my gosh, I said that like he is dead. No, that's just, you know, we're respecting his wishes. So we all wore masks for the pictures. I just remember like walking around the thing, and he was there. He was like, hi, it's nice to meet you. And he gave me a hug, and I hugged him, and he was like, thank you so much for coming. And he told me that he liked my skirt. That was very pretty. And then he asked me if I wanted him to sign my ticket, and I was like, yes, absolutely. And he did sign my ticket, but it literally rubbed off, and it made me so sad. But I still know he signed it, so even though it's like not on there, I know that he signed it. And then he was like, let's take a picture together. He grabbed my phone, obviously, because he is a tree, and he took a very cute picture of us, took a couple pictures. And yeah, he was incredibly sweet. He gives very good hugs, so kind, exactly what you would expect him to be. Dan is over a foot taller than me, so it was interesting. I was definitely, you know, looking up at him like this the whole time, but so sweet. It was really nice to meet him, and it was really fun, but I feel like my big like dream is I would really like to be able to just like talk to him someday, like face to face. Obviously a meet and greet, they move quick. They're supposed to, because you've got so many people who want to meet him and take pictures with him. And it's really nice. I'm glad that that was able to happen. But it would be so cool someday to actually be able to like speak to him and tell him my name, and like, you know, without a mask too, like, so we can actually like connect a little better. But maybe someday, hopefully. But, so that was that. And then we got our gift bags, and we were free for a little bit of time before the pre-show started. So since I was at the front of the line, I had a bit more free time to myself to kind of just stand there and wait until the pre-show started. So I just kind of hung out, and then for the pre-show, it was like open seating. That happened, let's see, around 5 o'clock, I believe. No, maybe it was 6 o'clock. I think it was 6 o'clock, because the VIP silver people got to do theirs in between, and they also were invited to the pre-show, so we had a bit of time to wait while they did their thing. Then we went into the pre-show, and that was very fun. Open seating for that, so we didn't have to worry about finding our seats. We did the pre-show selfie. It was so funny. Like, he's just such a funny person. Like, he's the type of person who can like genuinely just make a joke at any time. And it's so funny. Like, he's so good at, like, something that we don't really get to see from him that often, because he does, like, you know, videos, pre-recorded stuff. But he's so good at bouncing off of what people say and, like, holding conversation and just being funny in the moment. Like, he is genuinely so good at that. Like, he's just so funny. He's awesome. So the pre-show happened, and then I think that was about 45 minutes before the show started. So then we had a little bit of free time. We got in line to go into the theater and find our actual seats before the show started. So don't worry, I was able to find my seat, and then when my friend got there, I was able to go out and give my friend her ticket and then get back in. So that was good. So then it was time for the actual show to start at 7:30, and I was excited, but I was a little bit nervous because, as most of you probably know, I have avoided going to like shows and stuff for a long time because I can't be around flashing lights or like extremely loud like booming noises, I guess. So I was a little bit worried, but over the years, I've gotten kind of comfortable with, if I need to, I just like bow my head, cover my eyes, cover my ears, whatever I need to do. And just as like a blanket statement, I was fine the whole show. There were a couple moments that got a little loud that I needed to cover my ears for, but there were a couple flashing lights that I just, you know, covered really quick. Nothing that was lasting too long, so I was okay for the show. But that's something I tend to kind of worry about, especially in like an auditorium where I feel like it's not easy for me to escape if something is happening. But there's that, but I was okay. And so basically just like my like experience of the show, it was fantastic. I would go to it a million more times if I could. Something, again, about Dan that we might not be able to see as often through his videos is just, he is an incredible performer. Like, so good. He's so into what he does. He captures and embodies the emotions he's trying to portray so well. Like, he is so good at performing and acting and like providing like a culture of a certain emotion in a room. Like, he has that down, and he does so good with that. So that just made the show incredible, because he could have us laughing, but then he would tell us something really personal, and it would feel like we're all connecting, and like he has you hanging on every single word that he says. He's just so incredible at performing and like getting an emotion into a room. And the way that he has like a crowd engagement, I guess, like we did activities together during the show, the whole like him and the crowd, and it was great because it felt like we're all hanging out together, like a bunch of strangers in a room who all know the same inside jokes, but we all don't know each other, but we all, you know the same references and stuff, and so we can all relate for that one good night. So unique and magical. Like, I don't know what feeling or what moment could ever like replicate that feeling. I don't think anything can, because it's just so unique, and like it feels personal. Even though he's doing tons and tons of shows, it feels personal, and that's hard to do, but he did it like 1,000 out of 10. One of my favorite parts of the show, though, this isn't like a big spoiler or anything, but if you don't want to hear it, feel free to skip ahead. But yeah, he had bubble machines, and that was amazing, because again, I was in the front, so when he sprayed the bubbles, it was like raining bubbles, and it just felt magical. I have to wonder, there are like maybe some different props for different shows, because during the promo, there was a single orange foam cube that rolled down the stage, and I don't know about anybody else, but there were no cubes in sight at my show. So yeah, it kind of sounds like maybe some shows had slightly different things, probably just to keep things interesting. I mean, I know if I were doing what he was doing, like, I wouldn't want to get bored, obviously, but like, it can be really hard night after night doing the same show and still being able to capture the feelings and just do the same thing over and over again. So, you know, that's probably the case there. But again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I will just tell you that the very ending really just, it goes like through your heart. Like, he had us crying. Like, the concept of having this person who you haven't met until then, but you've kind of known for so long, you've known of him, he's been one of, if not the most important kind of role model in your life, someone you could relate to, someone that you have grown to care about, seeing them, looking up and seeing them stand in front of you and talk about their personal life and just spill everything out in front of you. Like, it's such a unique feeling, and I can't describe it because I don't think it's something that you can feel unless it's experienced. It was just so magical. He ignited all of the emotions inside of me, it brought me back to when I first discovered him and like reignited all of those feelings of like, oh yeah, like this is why I started watching you. And I don't know, it's so like specific. Sorry, I was just making sure I'm still recording because that would be a bummer, wouldn't it? But yeah, it's so unique and magical. Like I can't even describe it. It's really something that you have to experience in order to know how it feels. So I believe that's everything I wanted to say about the show. But now we'll just kind of talk about a little bit of background on how I got into Dan and Phil and all that stuff. So in 2014, the very beginning of the year, I want to say like February, I had a friend over to my house. We were talking about YouTube. I had only started watching YouTube like religiously the previous winter, so the end of 2013. I've told like my YouTube story on this channel before, so some of you are probably familiar with that timeline. But on that day in 2014 in February, my friend and I were talking about YouTubers, and she asked me if I watched Dan Howell, and I told her no, hadn't heard of him. But she showed me a video, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's so funny, and he's the most beautiful human I've ever seen in my entire life. So I kept watching his videos, and through him, I discovered Phil, and I mean like on the same day, like I discovered Phil too, and I was like, oh my gosh, these are the sweetest people on the entire earth. I love them. And yeah, that's how it started. Early 2014, I became a super fan. I love both Dan and Phil. I watch them as a pair. I watch both their videos. But in terms of who I relate to more, I definitely relate more to Dan. I have also struggled a lot with like existential anxiety and stuff like that, and I never knew anybody else who did. And I was like, there must be something wrong with me if this bothers me, but like no other human on the earth is concerned about like death. So, you know, that's cool. So Dan was the first person that I ever like saw who actually also felt that way, and that was really special. So that's why I kind of felt just more of like relating to in terms of personality to him. Still, I love them both. Like I don't have a favorite. I just mean like, you know, I relate to Dan a bit more than I relate to Phil in terms of like personality and like the struggles and that we've been through and stuff like that. So summer of 2015, I kind of started just like rewatching a bunch of their videos, and I rewatched the Sims series, and I really like them as a pair. Like the gaming channel, I love it. I rewatch it often. That is what I go to when I'm sad. I rewatch the gaming channel. I'm someone who never fell out of the fandom even for a little bit of time. I've always consistently watched them. If they don't put out new stuff, I rewatch the old stuff. I've gone through phases where I've been like hardcore obsessed, watched it every single night, but I've never gone through a phase where I'm like not a fan, you know? And it was interesting because a lot of people at the show were saying how they like fell out of the fandom for quite a bit of time and then came back, and I'm sitting here like, oh god, I still rewatch their videos like almost every night. But yeah, so I've been like a consistent fan of theirs for 8 years now. So last part of the video, I'm going to show you what's in my VIP gift bag. So if you don't want to see that, that is fine. You are all set. Thank you for watching. But everything, like even my mementos from the show, I have in there. It's just like a nice little place to keep everything. So I'm going to show you what I got. So before I forget, there are little bandages, but mine was like, they were out of them, so they had us email and they're going to be sent to us. So I don't have those, but they are coming to me. This is what the bag looks like. It is just a black drawstring bag. It says Doomed on it. And inside, again, I have everything of the mementos from the show. So the first free gift inside of the bag is this cute little metal water bottle that says Tears of My Enemies on it. So that's cute. Then there's this lovely, not awkward at all photo of Dan. Okay, then I have the paper about the bandages with the thing to email. And then I printed out, because again, this is like a memento bag for me. I printed out like my ticket information and confirmation just to like have it as a memento. And then I put in the pictures of me meeting Dan. So I printed them out, but I'm going to like actually put them on the screen so that you can see them. And then I have my ticket that he signed, but again, it rubbed off, but I still know he signed it, so it's okay. And then I've got the t-shirt that I bought. It is just like a standard tour t-shirt, so there's the front, and then the back has all the dates on it. Then we've got temporary tattoos, Save the Bees, and I think there's a couple more in there. Then I've got a few more pictures, so I took pictures of the signs, and then before I realized we weren't allowed to take pictures, I took a picture of the set, but I'm not going to put it anywhere. I just printed it out, that's it. And then the pre-show pic. And then, last but not least, there is a beautiful Doomed beaded bracelet that I love. It's like Halloween colors, and then it says Doomed, and yeah, I love it. So this whole bag is a bunch of mementos for me that I can look through when I'm sad and remind myself that I did indeed meet and hug my favorite human on this planet. One thing I forgot, my blue VIP wristband is in there as well. Alright, well I guess that's it for this. I think I said everything that I wanted to say. If I forgot anything and I happen to remember before I upload, I will just sneak it in somewhere when I'm editing. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I love Dan and Phil so very much. They are my favorite YouTubers and my biggest inspirations. They are fantastic people, and I just have so much love for them. They have done so many things for me, and I want to make another video kind of going more in depth as to what their content has kind of meant to me over the years, because they're just fantastic and they've done more for people than they even realize. So I would really like to talk more about this if you would like to hear it. But yeah, thank you for watching, and if you have any like questions about the show, maybe you've got one coming up, I'm happy to answer those questions. Anything to help you ease anxiety. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I love you to the moon and back, and I'll see you later. Bye!